Good evening and welcome back to Cricket Analysis by C and E. I am joined by Vedant, Sharan, and Proneet Ghatak again. This time they're not color coding yet again. I can't see Vedant's shirt, but he's a bit low today. Oh, he's wearing
Agni, why
yellow
are
again.
you so obsessed with us color coding? What
No,
is your
no,
obsession there?
because I feel like there's some uniformity will be good. But anyways, let's go back to
We
the
have the
topic
same
of the day.
backgrounds.
So we are being
We
uniform
need to
here as well.
design some CNE jerseys now, I think.
Yes, yes.
If someone wants to sponsor us with that, please do. 30 viewers right now. But yeah, talking about some 30 viewers, we had great day of test cricket, guys, and a lot of interesting topics to talk about today. It's going to be a long discussion because we have a list of topics we want to talk about. But firstly, let's go to session by session and let's see what our analysis, our statistics say about where the match is heading. To start with, we had some three sessions where all the three sessions were starkly different from each other. It seemed like the pitch was a different one in each innings, and the match advantage is even, guys. Vedant, what do you think? Do you feel like match is absolutely? Is it a thriller coming in for tomorrow?
It's definitely a thriller and it's very even, very even. It's absolutely 50-50. England have a strong batting order. India has Jasprit Bumrah and our second and third pacers are very weak. So very even that way. And also session one over here, I'd just like to mention, I think it was towards India today, session one.
Yeah, I didn't edit that, but yeah, I feel like India had that advantage, but still, I felt like it could be shared in the sense that India could have batted better, and England have bowled very well. So I wanted to give England some credit there because they really bowled well in the morning, and I'll tell
Had
you why.
go.
Bolo? Ah,
No, no,
uh, yeah, so we'll talk about why England bowled well today. But before that, we want Proneet's opinion on how the day went. Can you summarize the day for us? This roller coaster of a day.
I think today was the starting was really weird because the pitch was showing very sudden movements and giving a lot of advantage to the bowlers in the first session. Then in the second session again it turned out to be again it seemed a flat track. So and in
I
the last
think Rishabh
session
Pant made it flat
it
too.
I can agree with that. It was Rishabh Pant after all. And in the third session, it was a action replay of day two, action replay of day two. So
Yes,
can't say anything about that.
and we were afraid that this was coming for Team India in the second innings as well, looking at what happened in the first innings. But yes, let's move on to our pictures and let's go on to our batting
Before
scorecard
Agni
of
moves
India.
on, Agni, you said you put shared there. I'd just like to say that you said you put shared because England bowled well, but then India batted better than them. That is why we lost only one wicket and we scored
No,
64 runs.
I agree with Vedant on this that if the
And
pitch was offering so much for the
yes, when the
bowlers
pitch
and
had
they
assistance for
failed
the
to get
bowlers.
more wickets.
When the pitch had
Interesting.
assistance for the bowlers, the Indian batsmen played well in the first
Yeah.
session.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Your viewpoints are completely valid. But however, I am the presentation master here, and I have my say in the thing, and that'll be final. So I will put there as shared, and I'll say no. This is a shared session. I like bowlers, and I felt like bowlers did quite well there, despite yes, of course, there being demons in the pitch. But let's talk about the batting innings. We'll firstly talk about the spotlights of the batting, in which are we can see clearly it's KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant yet again. We'll talk about KL Rahul in a bit, but we'll talk about the most important wicket of the day. And I felt like it was a presentation of what could come tomorrow as well. So we'll talk about Shubman Gill and his wicket. Uh, as you can see some visuals there, that the pitch has cracked up a bit, and it's mainly due to the dryness of the weather and how there has been more sun than overcast clouds. And yes, towards the offside from the hill end, you can see there's some cracks opening up, and I think Ravindra Jadeja will be quite happy to see those visuals for day five. What do you think, Proneet? Do you feel like Shubman Gill's wicket was more of how the crack played out, or do you feel like it was his own fault?
Now, first of all, the picture reminded me of 2014-15 Ashes in Australia. So
Oh,
those are some
that
clicks
was
coming into my mind. So also another thing was that these holes that are coming in between giving advantage to the bowlers. I think Shubman, it was not Shubman Gill's fault. I think the first session was like that only. Sometimes it was bouncing, sometimes it was staying low. The bowlers are dominating, and I think it was KL Rahul's class and his technique that helped him tackle that conditions in the first. Also, I don't understand why are there cracks suddenly, because past 2 days it has been raining pretty good, so I don't understand how the cracks came here.
No, the
The
cracks
cracks
are
have
because
come.
of the bowlers' footholds also, na? Because when they are coming in and bowling, because in the run up, in the process, they create cracks, which is then utilized by the spinners to
And
get
sometimes the
the ball.
paces as well to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
some
I
variations in.
understand that.
Yes.
But the rough being created, I don't think so. Any of the English pacers out there is is has that kind of a run up, like somebody like Mitchell Stark,
No,
somebody
there's
like
also
Mitchell
another
Stark.
reason.
So I don't think so how it is affecting the
No,
pitch.
no, it's I think
But
the pace bowlers usually have that kind of heavyweight ability, and that's why they're so fit
spikes,
and
it
they
is
need to
because of the
taken care of.
cricketing spikes. It is not to do with the
Uh,
bowlers running and speed. It is to do with the cricket spikes
Oh,
that
yes.
yep,
that is the
spikes as
reason
well.
for that is why we say on day 4 and day 5 the wicket deteriorates and assists spinners more because of the cracks which are created because of the bowlers follow through after bowling.
and and especially cracks can also be created of dryness as well. There has been some rain, but it hasn't been sufficient rain to retain moisture clearly because the which wicket is still quite flat. But talking about it, also rollers can also come in play after raining. There are some rollers into play as well, and heavy rollers can get a lot of cracks. Light rollers can submerge it a bit, but mostly it has been heavy rollers because the bowlers would want some more roles, the more role to play in the test match, and that's why feel the crack has been created. It isn't a significant crack though because it is happening around the outside of area and only in one end, and the other part of the pitch is quite safe to play, I think, because there hasn't been much on the other end that where the bowlers bowled. It's been quite flat, and Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul batted them all day. So yeah, I mean Shubman Gill has been unlucky, but I feel like he would be quite disappointed that he couldn't contribute in the second innings. So it's a quite interesting analysis of how he got out. It was a chop on to the stumps where the ball suddenly nipped back in out of nowhere, and he couldn't have the place to play the square cut. So quite an interesting thing we can see about the pitch. The pitch also shows a bit of dryness because the grass is not taken off, and the usage of the pitch also 4 days has been completed, and the grass in the wicket, if there were any, is quite dry, and uh, they have been kept quite well from the English pitch people, the whole staff there. So yeah, I mean it's quite interesting to see what's to come for day 5 and how Jadeja will use those tracks. I think he will come from the hill end where he will try to expose those tracks and get the batsmen committing some mistakes that they can't get rid of. So it will be an interesting day 5 coming up. But next in the topic, we'll talk about Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul. Uh, Vedant, what's about KL Rahul that you feel is the most attractive part about his batting?
The class and the technique. Simply put, it is elegance at its best. And also, you mentioned Shubman Gill's wicket, and that I think he already has 147 in the first innings. Now it is
Yeah,
to expect again for him to score big is
the
somewhat
law of
too much
averages
for us to
speaking.
expect. But with KR Rahul, he has always been a class player. I think there has not been a doubt with respect to that. But now his test average, if you look at it statistically, it might not be as good as the caliber that he has. Yet the fact that now after absence with the absence of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, the fact that he's coming on his own and stepping up, it is really good to see that. And also with respect to KL Rahul, I'd like to here thank the Kohli Shastri management for backing him for all these years. He has been
Mm.
backed a lot, and it is paying off. So it is really good to see. And as far as Rishabh Pant is concerned, the only thing which comes to my mind is Rishabh Pant is Rishabh Pant. We cannot put
Uh,
him, there is no class textbook KL Rahul plays in a very textbook manner. There's a textbook elegance class which is always taught from in the coaching classes or whatever. But with Rishabh Pant, his strokes, it is best we leave him alone and say do whatever you like. Because
Yeah, and
and to although it is the way he plays is aggressive form, not quite traditional, yet he has a very good cricketing brain. I mean, it might come across as reckless his game, but it isn't. Because if you look at here the stump mic and the insights that he was giving while he was batting in both innings,
yes.
it was really good to it showed that his cricketing insight, and that is why also he's our vice captain for so
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
excellent.
fun to hear him in the stump mics.
And they and both of them complemented each other. One was with his traditional batting, another one with his not so orthodox batting, but it was amazing to watch, very good
Yeah.
uh, to watch.
Yeah, it has been one of the most eye-catching partnerships of the whole game because
And
KL Rahul at one end
also one
stood
point
strong.
that KL Rahul has been backed, and even Rishabh Pant has been backed by the both by the Kohli Shastri management and by the Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid management. Both of them have backed him, and in fact, even when he came from injury, he got a go ahead immediately. So after his car crash, so that way, the fact that we have backed players and now they are returning that favor, it is very good to see.
Yep, definitely. And to talk about how Rishabh Pant has come back from what seemed like a devastating car crash, and now coming after a year almost, but still coming and scoring like that in senior countries, it's very gutsy of him, and it's nothing short of entertaining. And I don't think anyone in the entire world will not want to see him bat well, and especially how he has done today as well. He's only the second keeper after Andy Flower to get hundreds in both test innings, and I feel like it's a major stat to have, especially beside the legend of Andy Flower, and how he has batted, how he has completely bashed the England lineup, and also he has batted quite maturely in the first session as well. So it doesn't show that he's a one-dimensional player. He is
He can,
also he can
he,
also he has that kind of defense. We've seen he's a very
he
strong
can.
defense.
Yes, absolutely. He's a class of a player and one of a kind. Harry Brook
Yeah.
resembles him, so that is
But
there.
I feel like Harry Brook, we haven't seen him in the second innings, of course, but Harry Brook seems like a complete.
Hopefully, we don't have to see him for long. He gets out in the first for an
Yeah,
hour.
I haven't seen him defending much. Like Rishabh Pant has been soaking some pressure in the first session at least, in the first hour at least. I haven't seen Harry Brook do that yet.
Yes,
But let's see how Harry Brook plays.
tomorrow when England comes out, they'll be looking to chase the total. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we
Hmm.
won't see a lot. Maybe in some 1 hour or 30-40 minutes, maybe because of too much breeze or something, they might be respecting the bowlers. Maybe Bumrah's overs they might be respecting, but other than that, I don't see them playing in a very defensive way. They'll go all out trying to win it. And it is also and it is the with Bumrah playing, it is India's best chance to win.
Yep. And talking about dropped catches and how Proneet likes to say Merry Christmas all day, England have also come bearing gifts for the visitors, and especially how, of course, KL Rahul and Pant have batted very well for the hundreds, but they have also given some opportunities to the English bowlers, and they haven't been able to take those opportunities. We'll talk about Harry Brook himself, who has been given so many lives, and he himself drops a couple. And we can see Ben Stokes quite frustrated, but Harry Brook dropped KL Rahul at 58. How important do you think, Tony, is this drop for the match? I feel like he has scored 100 runs more almost, KL Rahul, after that drop. And what do you think? Is it a match-defining drop?
Of course, it was a match-defining drop because Harry Brook actually cancelled it out because he himself got dropped. Then he drops another player who goes on to score almost more another 100 runs. So I think that just cancels things out. But I think the game is far from over. The last day, how
Of
we
course, of
look at how
course.
Crawley and Duckett started today for the last 6 overs. We needed
Hmm.
them to bat for last 6 overs, but still, I don't think so. Nothing much happened. We required at least 2 wickets today. So nothing happened.
Yeah,
Tomorrow is going to be a vital day. Also,
and
I have a stat
especially,
with me. I have a
mhm,
stat with me.
continue.
I would like to say that there has been 59 matches where India have had to defend 450 plus runs. there have been, sorry, 450, my bad, 350. 350
Mhm.
plus totals in test matches, there have been 59 matches. Out of
Mhm.
those 59 matches, India has won 42. There have been 16 draws, and India's lost only one match.
And
And
that's
we all
against England, I
remember
believe.
which match that was. It was in
Yep.
2022 Birmingham.
Yep.
So
But
So
I don't feel like
that's the
some
problem.
stat is about to be broken. Either the one where the team bowling first always wins, or the stat which just Proneet right now mentioned. So something's
Yeah,
yeah.
one of them is going to get
One
broken.
is going to pay a lot of problems. I think that will be broken. But yeah, I mean, I don't think India. I think from the Indian point of view, I don't think they should be too scared of the fact because it has happened once, and it happened when Johnny Bairstow was playing well, of course. But it shouldn't be a cause of concern for India thinking that it is a small total because it's still
It
a
is
very big
not a
total. So if you,
small total. It is a very competitive total with the pitch and how it has been
Ah,
behaving. It
yeah, and
although Promeet
especially
said
on
I'd like to see 2 wickets, I'd like to call it wishful thinking because I
uh,
think there was
yeah.
only 6 overs. I'd want 4 wickets to fall down and Bumrah's three hat
no,
trick.
no,
Yeah.
we took 3 wickets at Perth in Australia in the first Test match of
But
BGT.
Perth was a complete different wicket, to be honest.
Perth
That was a
was
different.
a different wicket. This is a different. This is still although there is assistance for the bowlers. However, the pitch
Perth was a
is
flatter wicket.
towards the batting side. That is why it is very interesting. And also, what will be very interesting to see is how the pitch plays out tomorrow. And
Yeah.
in England, it is very difficult to predict because we don't know what will be the weather conditions. Because, for
Mhm.
example,
Ah,
in India, we know for a fact that whatever condition be it day 4, day 5, it will be rough. That there will be a lot of rough created because of the soil that India has. There's
Mhm.
a lot of rough created. It will assist the spinners. But in England, more than the pitch, it is dependent on overhead conditions, which we don't know for now. So if there's assistance for bowlers, good for us. If it's bright and sunny, then bright and
Yeah,
sunny.
I have a lot of hate for meteorologists as well. Like, I think that's the term for people who
I,
declare weather
I,
forecasts. I completely don't believe in them.
I actually had 2 points about Harry Brook and Rishabh Pant comparison that Vedant stated before. I just
Mhm.
want to say that Harry Brook, if you compare, Vedant said that Harry Brook and Rishabh Pant share a similar style of play. I would say just the mindset is similar, nothing else. Their play
Yes,
is not at all
mindset,
close to
mindset,
each other.
mindset. I
When I,
mean the
when
mindset.
I, yeah, I just wanted to state one thing that Harry Brook's batting stance, if you look at Harry Brook's batting stance, it is more of a baseball like stance. If you look at his bat is always held up in a 90-degree angle. So that is where his baseball, he actually used to play baseball. So his
Okay.
stance has come from that. On the other hand, if you compare Rishabh Pant, he has got a proper defense. And Rishabh Pant's cricketing brain, as Vedant said, Rishabh Pant today he hit his first 25 to 30 runs in the first session that he played. He played maturely in the first session. Of course, he went for 2, 3 boundaries like recklessly, but still, his maturity in the
Reckless
first
is a
session
strong
showed
word,
us.
but
I mean, we expect those from Rishabh Pant. I mean, we cannot categorize Rishabh Pant into a set of batsmen. He's different.
Traditionally, you
So
can't.
that's the thing.
Traditionally, you can put
yeah.
him in a traditional cricket is
But
not his.
I think there is
Whatever
conventional
suits the
cricketers.
batsman. I mean, if you are Chiteshwar Pujara and you score 100 and 400 balls, or if you are Rishabh Pant and you score 100 and 120 balls, I mean, at
It
the end
still
of the day, it's
runs.
100 runs that matter. And maybe in Chiteshwar Pujara's case, he just bored the bowlers, and in Rishabh Pant's case, he is aggressively
Traumatizing
attacking
the
the bowlers,
bowlers.
thereby shattering their confidence. So if I
Mhm.
mean both styles of play will actually complement each other. So
Yep. And we
today it
saw
was
the Gabba test.
Pujara and Pant had pretty good partnerships whenever they played together.
yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
deviating now. So let's come back to the
Okay.
But coming back from Pujara Pant partnership, KL and Pant's partnership was also quite similar, to be honest, where KL played second fiddle and he batted solidly and went out to score 100 of 200 balls, and Pant scored 100 of 100 balls. I mean, it's still 100 at the end of the day. But talking about weather forecast is something that I don't like from the weather forecasters. So if even if you look at the weather and say tomorrow is going to be a very sunny day, I don't support
It's a
that because I
cloudy
don't like
day.
them.
I was just checking the
Yeah, I
weather
really don't pay heed to them because I really don't like them. It can I've seen almost all of the times the weather report has been quite faulty, and I felt like that job is useless. Sorry for the people, sorry to offend some people, but I don't like them.
The
But anyways, coming
scientific
to the next
community
topic.
won't like your opinion here, but okay.
Yeah, but it's true. They have to accept. I'm sorry, it's facts. But coming on to the next topic, we'll talk about the bowling scorecard and how they have been. To be honest, when Pant and Rahul were batting, they have been quite defensive. I think Ben Stokes' captaincy has been not as proper to begin with towards Pant and Rahul, where they have been giving opportunities. Pant also gave his opportunities where he nicked some genuine ones towards slip, and the slip wasn't even present at all.
Hmm.
I feel like Ben Stokes should have been a bit more attacking in the sense that okay, Pant is hitting the runs, sure. Put like a square leg or a square leg or a deep square leg or a deep mid on or something like that, but keep slips always because in English conditions, whenever it nips a bit and you don't know when it nips a bit, you can create that edge, and that happened with Rishabh Pant's innings quite a few times, and Ben Stokes missed an opportunity there where of course, Rahul's was a bit more direct where the opportunity was created and there was a fielder. But for Rishabh Pant, I feel like he has been granted a few lives and he made the most of it. But coming to the later half of the batting order, it's the same story. It's again India completely collapsing in the face of England's new round bowling, and especially Josh Tongue cleaning up the tail again. He's like that kind of vulture who comes after all the battles are done and then suppose takes some meat and goes. So it's that kind of a bowler. He hasn't been as effective with the new balls, but when it comes to make the tail completely uh, disappear, he has done the job. And Josh Tongue has been one of the credential bowlers for England in this innings, and also Bryden Cars, who has, I think, impressed me a lot because he has been quite accurate with his lengths and lines, and especially in the first hour of the day when he bowled really well against Rahul and Rishabh Pant. You'd feel like Bryden Cars deserved 5 wickets. Is he bowled like that? But of course, Shoaib Bashir also took a couple. And yes, it's a two-edged sword because India batted very well on the top of the order, but failed again in the middle order. And how much it could cost them because the target could have been 400, and I feel like India could have gone to 400. Could have gotten 40 extras done had they not gone out. But still, 371 they put as a target is quite daunting, and I would like to think that it's advantage India, but the pitch is still flat, so nobody knows what will happen. We'll get some visuals talking about how Josh Tongue and Jasprit Bumrah's bold visual has completely depicted how India's vulnerable tail is. And I want to ask this question to Vedant because he has been also talking about how the tail has been a problem for India. What do you feel could India do better with the tail, and what is the problem with the tail? Because it's been a problem for a long period of time, but in this test match, India has collapsed quite easily towards the English bowlers. Do you feel like English bowlers are just bowling too well against the tail, or is India still just a bit faulty?
No, I think, look, it is just the first test match, so we need to, before we say this is something is a big problem, I think we should give it 2, 3 test matches. And also with respect to the tail, I mean, to this just this time around, I didn't actually mind falling it so fast because I wanted, like I think we had discussed yesterday that we wanted England to play the last 5, 10 overs of the day. So maybe had
Yeah.
had India not gotten out, they would not have declared, could have been a reason. So that is one. And as far as a tail is, I mean, honestly, it is just we need some 50-50. I think in the first innings, I'm not talking about second innings, I'm talking about the first inning, just another 50 runs. Now, whether, and that 50 runs has to come from a combination of Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, then our bowlers,
10 runs from Bumrah.
Uh, Bumrah, Siraj, and whoever just the 50 runs, that 50-60 that you give at the end of the, that has been required. And also one thing which we didn't speak about, what I felt after looking at Karun Nair in both innings was his, and I observed this during his IPL duration also with the Delhi Capital, is his tendency to push the balls. Now, because when you're pushing the ball, we spoke at length about KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant, but Karun Nair, I'll just get to that. When you are pushing the ball goes in the air, and both his dismissals today has been why he has been pushing it. Now, if you look at how Sai Sudarshan batted, if you look at how KL Rahul batted, they weren't pushing it. It was a stroke.
Soft
The
hand.
difference between a
Soft
stroke and
hand.
a push. Now, when you're pushing on the up ball, then there are the chances of it to go in the air. And in fact, before that also one boundary which Karun Nair scored through the slips was also him pushing it. So that is something that has to be worked upon. He has to play a bit later and to more towards his body so that he keeps the shots grounded. Because the in both his dismissals and this time as well because he was set. He was on 20, 20, 25. Just maybe another you have to convert that 25 into a 50 and 52. And Karun Nair knows how to convert. He has triple centuries in first class cricket and in international cricket. So he knows how to convert it. Just that because he's pushing it, that is why the wicket has fallen over there. So that
Yeah,
some tactical work has to go with respect to
towards
Karun.
Karuna. And I think like Karuna deserves two more test matches, even though he has not fared well in
No,
the one match.
no, all five. I would say all five.
Uh,
All
but
five. Picked him plain.
Mhm. Yeah,
Don't
I
change him.
no, I was thinking about why 2-3 test matches, because after 2-3 test matches, if we see if India are not doing well in the later middle order, it's all in prospect, of course. But if you see if Karuna continues to not perform the next two test matches, 2-3 test matches, and if you see the later middle order completely collapsing as well, I would have thought of, suppose in my 11 that I gave in the preview as well, I would highly consider getting Nitish Kumar Reddy and Dhruv Joel in to the 11 in the future prospect. It's still in prospect. I would still play them in the next match and so on. I will still play them, but because India has taken them in the 11, I will still play them. I will back them. But I feel like after 2-3 matches, if you see if
Dhruv
Karunar and
Dhruv
Shardul Thakur
Durrell
have
could
not.
be a for Karun Nair also.
Karunar at this point should be back for this series, I feel, because he has been in exceptional form for the past
Mhm.
2, 3 domestic seasons.
No,
So I think he
Dhruv,
should be back for at
so
least one
what Agni
series.
pointed out that maybe with respect to backing players, Dhruv Jurel could, which you also said that he could have been given a go ahead. But the thing is that Dhruv Jurel was dropped during the BGT in the second or third match, or the first, after the first or second match only he was dropped. So
Yeah, it was because of
I
Rohit
think
Sharma
I
himself
think
when he
he
came to the
was
11.
during that time he was not looked as a long term replacement. He was looked as something like a stopgap solution for just for
For
that time
Rishabh Pant.
because Rohit Sharma was not there. But after that, if you have decided to go with Karunar, then you back him. And as far as NK Reddy, which you have put out, it totally depends on the condition. Because if it is a bowling friendly track, then yes, NK Reddy. If it is a batting friendly track, then Shardul Thakur. Because if it is a flat track, we'll need more bowlers, and if it is a bowling friendly wicket, we'll need more batsmen to give us that 50, 60 runs. So that is the
And
point.
also talking about Nitish Kumar Reddy as well. I feel like if Shardul Thakur gets more overs in the start of the innings rather than coming around halfway of the innings, I feel like it would have
Yeah,
been.
I
I
got
feel Shardul
yesterday. I
Thakur can be
just like
better
to
utilized.
clarify that I had got it wrong. I just said I was okay with him coming in the 40th over. I did today actually. I was just looking up a stat that basically in Ranji Trophy, Shardul Thakur has taken 35 wickets. Out of those, 28 wickets have come either in the first 20 overs or between the 80th over and the 100th over, which is essentially also with the new ball the first 20 overs
Hmm.
one can say. So just because of that, with before Jadeja came in and before the second spell of Prasidh Krishna, Shardul Thakur in the first 20 overs could have been given 3 or 4 overs because he is a new ball bowler, which statistically is there also, and now with his Ranji
I
record,
feel Shardul Thakur will be more effective in that 10 to 20 over
10 to
gap,
yes,
Exactly.
though that
Exactly.
five over
Exactly.
yes,
spell
I got
there.
it wrong yesterday. Yes, 10 to 20
Hmm.
overs, 3 or 4 rather than getting because now we know Prasidh Krishna is a hitter deck bowler. After 40, 50th over, if the ball is doing nothing and then you have to use the bouncer bouncer tactic, then he's your man
He's
to
more
beat.
effective there.
Yeah,
Yes, he's more effective there. But when it comes to pitching it up, swinging
I
it, trapping in before the wicket, getting edges, it is Shardul Thakur who has a more higher chance of actually creating that.
So especially Vedant finally agrees that statistic data has to be put ahead of
Yes,
psychological
no,
mindset.
yes, statistic data ahead in this case, because in this case, 4/5 of his wickets are coming from there. As
Yeah, and
why
especially as
also
I've said before,
no,
it's when
I
the
I had
new
a
still
ball
point. I had a
comes.
I
point after Vedant finishes.
I still believe that Prasidh Krishna was first change bowler. Then with Prasidh Krishna from one end, Shardul Thakur on the other end. In that way, I'm
Maybe.
not saying that
Uh,
Shardul Thakur in this innings, maybe you can give Shardul Thakur or both in a spell together. That is what I'm saying.
mm,
Both in a spell
yeah,
together.
especially
But
and
for my
especially
first change bowler, at least for the first innings, would be Prasidh Krishna. This time it is up to how the conditions are and what the tactics are.
And especially if you see, I feel like when Prasidh Krishna bowled two spells already, and then Shardul Thakur still hadn't been included in in his first spell. I feel like Shubman Gill missed a trick there, where suppose in the first change up after like suppose Prasidh Krishna bowls, changing suppose for example Siraj, and then Shardul Thakur comes in the other end where he swings the ball, continues to swings the ball and swing the ball, and I feel like that is a trick that Shubman Gill missed. I highly hope that Shardul Thakur comes in immediately. I think tomorrow he bowls his
No,
first
not immediately.
innings.
After a Bumrah Siraj spell tomorrow.
Of course, the Bumrah
Agni,
Siraj spell tomorrow.
I actually feel that at this point where this game stands, I feel if the other matches also go like this, it can cause trouble for India because Shardul Thakur is the start of our tail. I can say that. I think after Jadeja, tail starts. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at England's tail, their last four batsmen scored seven. If I consider last five batsmen scored 72 runs, while
Mm-hmm.
India's last five batsmen in the first innings, if we exclude Jadeja, scored 5 runs. So
Big
that
difference.
67 run gap is huge. So that
Yeah.
in
That
this
is what
innings,
I
the
also mentioned when I
Indian
said we just need that
actually scored
50,
four
60 extra
runs.
runs.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the
And
Exactly.
same.
the Indian
And
batting order.
I also had another thing. I also had another thing. Vedant said previously that the tail not being able to score those few runs is not a big problem. I actually disagree with him. I feel it is
Yeah.
a big problem
No,
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 because
no,
I'll
no, no.
just
we
He
like to
the
never
first
said.
clarify the tail not scoring is not a big problem, has not been in the second innings. Because
It's in the second
wanted
innings only.
in the second innings
I
only.
feel even in the second innings it is important because we see that we in the WTC final, Stark and Hazelwood scored some had a some
No,
50-run
because in this
partnership for the
game,
last wicket.
Puneet,
Yeah,
in this
it
game,
So
depends on the
if,
context of the game.
with respect to the context of just this game and this game only, we need England to. I want in the last 10 overs. We wanted. I think collectively wanted the openers to come out and face some deliveries from Bumrah and Siraj. That is why, and
Mm,
India at the end of the day when we were all out, there were 6 overs at the end of the day. So maybe in the
mm.
end, maybe our strike rate could have gone higher. That is a discussion that can be another discussion.
I just
But
felt that
scoring rate,
India's
I mean
tail
strike
being
scoring rate.
vulnerable has been a problem for the last few series.
Not a few
I,
series, in fact, Proneet, not a few
it's
series
for a long
over the
time,
years. Over the years.
over the years.
In England, in India, it has not been so purely because of the fact that we had because of the spinners we were playing at, we had Ashwin, we had Jadeja, and we had Akshar Patel. So and then two pacers. So in
There
England,
is
We
no
had a
tail.
big batting lineup.
that is not a tail exactly. They are proper all rounders. So in England, that in India, that has not been a problem for us. But in overseas, when we go, because our pacers don't bat that well. Josh
Yep.
Hazelwood, Stark add more runs as compared to what our pacers do. So that is why
Mm,
that this overseas this has been a problem since a long time. There is
yep.
no.
I just feel
And
Shardul needs to bat more responsibly because he is a good batter, I feel.
Yes, he is absolutely a good bat, and that is what I was saying, that with Shardul Thakur, Jadeja, just adding that 60 runs could make you end up on the
yeah,
winning side or the losing side. That is
Also,
essential.
I had a question from you both.
Huh.
That can we play Reddy and Thakur together? because
I
I
don't feel
gave my
like so
lineup
because then
before.
you have to drop Karun Nair then.
No,
You have to
no, no.
drop Karun Nair
Karun,
then.
now that the team is picked, for heaven's sake, please back. Not now.
And Nitish Kumar Reddy cannot play with when Shardul Thakur is there, especially because our bowling
Then it is
again
then
becomes
it
weak.
is in the middle of nowhere. Now, neither do we have batting depth, nor
Uh,
bowling, nor
But
batting.
and
but
you
what
have
if
to
what if what if you replace Sai Sudarshan and put Karun Nair at number three?
No, Sai
Because
Karun
Karun
that's
Nair has
Nair,
been
again Sai
successful at
Sudarshan.
number three.
It's
Sai
you're
Sudarshan
not
has batted
encouraging
better.
musical chairs. You're
No,
encouraging
Sai
musical
I
chairs.
Sudarshan,
understand.
Sai Sudarshan has looked good. In all fairness to him, Sai
Mhm.
Sudarshan, he has played with soft hands, and technically he has been compared to Karun Nair. If you look in this test match, he has batted technically in a much better manner. So whoever,
Yep.
and a guy with more technique is more likely to do well. Just
And
that.
especially Karun Nair's a bit Karun Nair's tendency to push. I feel like he's not a perfect number three batter because
Yeah, exactly.
especially with the
That
new
that
ball,
yes.
especially with the new ball, when you push and get the ball high up, I feel like it's more of an opportunity, more of an opportunity to get out.
He is not
Well,
a
moving
reliable.
on,
Number six.
and moving. Yep, we'll talk about how the next test 11 should be there. We're being cutting short of time. We'll go to the summary of the match and how this is a complete thriller because England needs 350 runs. It's a lot of runs, but it's a flat wicket as well. And India need 10 scalps. You feel like anyone will go for a draw or both will go for win? And
Win, win,
especially
win, win.
and after that,
Result. I will
after
go
I
for
asked that
result. I
question,
don't know which side, but there will be
yeah.
a result.
And also, I want to ask the questions. I want to give a prediction because it's a prediction time for day five because we'll have a result finally. Our question to you both: what is the present prediction for you guys? Who will win
India
and
wins.
by how
India
much
wins.
runs? And by how much runs?
India
10 or
wins.
wickets? How much runs?
50, 60.
100,
Proneet,
100
same
plus.
50,
100
100
plus. So you
plus.
feel like India has a one-sided opportunity. You feel like
because Bumrah is in
We
this
have
Bumrah is in this game.
Bumrah.
exactly.
Yep. Okay, so we have our predictions in, and it's India. It's seeing India having advantage to victory. What Vedant and Proneet both feel like, but I feel like it's still going to be a very good match coming
Okay,
forward for
because
tomorrow. And
Proneet says India wins, I say England wins with 3 wickets. England wins with 3 wickets.
okay,
Just
ये
for,
कुछ
let's see who
भी
loses then.
for some
Who loses?
competition, man.
For who loses then? But till then, I feel like it's a thriller coming up, and everybody should be hooked to the screens tomorrow because it's a very good test match, a 5-day proper test match coming up for tomorrow. And we'll meet you guys again tomorrow discussing how the test match went. And till then, it's good night for all of
Good
us,
night.
and have a good night's sleep. Good night.
good night.